two Sotos are better than one. That is very true. Gregory Soto, who used to be in the division with the Phillies, moved over to the Orioles last year. The Orioles loved the Phillies relievers last year. If you remember, they picked up Soto and Sir Anthony Dominguez. And now Soto is back in the National League East. The Mets need bullpen help. They've got a left-handed reliever to add to the Brooks Raley mix. Raley just recently back for the Metropolitans, gives them two money left-handed arms, helps them really against guys like Kyle Schwarber in the division too. Keep that in mind. You want to have multiple options from the left side for high leverage games, high leverage situations. Soto and Brooks Raley makes this much more attractive for the Mets. And I feel like this team in general is not getting enough attention and love for how much damage they might do at the trade deadline. Kratz, they think they can win a World Series this year. They didn't spend $765 million on Juan Soto for nothing. What do you think?
I mean, I think David Stearns is cementing his legacy as a GM, but now he has to cement it in New York. What he does in Queens, I think, is going to be completely different. So I think this is just the tip of the iceberg for a guy who needs for a guy who jumps the market, getting a reliever that everybody we talk about today, tomorrow, in the next 5 days is going to all be about, oh, they need relief pitching and they need a bat. To me, I think they may go back down to Baltimore and say no one else is going to get really one of the best center fielders that's available in Cedric Mullins. So you've already started that train with the Orioles. So you've already had those communications, direct line down to Baltimore, and see they might get that center fielder, Cedric Mullins, too.
We can talk about the return a little bit as well. The Mets farm system is in much better shape than it was several years ago. This team always spends a lot, but the difference was they didn't have much going in the farm. They do these days. You've seen some of the young position players come up for them and be helpful contributors. But from a pitching front, Kratz, is where this team has really changed. This team has changed from the top with the MLB squad all the way down to the minor league level. It has really made a difference with the way that this team is pitching, developing pitching. They've got the pitching machine, the pitching lab, as many call it, down in Florida where they train, right? And you're seeing that now in the form of some of these prospect returns. So when you look at these guys, we're not going to act like we know much about them, but right-handed pitcher Cameron Foster and right-handed pitcher Wellington Aracena, who on many lists is a top 20 Mets prospect, both move for a guy in Soto who I think it's a good tweet here from Joel Sherman. He said, is most likely to be a reliever that hits one, walks two, then strikes out three in an inning. Big velocity, hard to hit when he is locating. Do you like that?
Get your heart medicine out? You're saying get your heart medicine out in Queens? So it's nasty. It's a funky arm angle. He's tall, and he throws 100. Like, this is a kind of guy that you're like, man, if he could put it together. Well, he does put it together in spurts. So this will be kind of, Carlos Mendoza will need to really have his pulse on how he's throwing and be able to get him out of there. When that sinker's going, it's a middle pitch that guys are not able to square up. And to me, I thought if the Orioles were going to do a deal like this, or when the Orioles were going to do a deal like this, they would have gone after some guys that were closer to big league ready, like a 1-for-1 kind of thing, like something that would fill a hole for next year. Because yes, the Orioles have been brutal, but they want to win next year. If they don't want to win, then somebody's going to get Gunnar Henderson, which ain't happening. But you go out there and you're like, hey, like, I thought it would be more of a baseball trade when I was thinking of Orioles. It still could happen.
Well, the Orioles are going to trade anybody that's in this realm. Right. They're going to trade Sir Anthony Dominguez. They're going to trade Zach Eflin. They should trade Shigano. I know they're a little bit worried about the relationship internationally with bringing in a player who finally commits to the Orioles over many other spots, and then you deal him away. But it's a 1-year contract, so I think they should deal him away. Who else? You mentioned Mullins. He should get dealt away. So, yeah, this is just the beginning for the Orioles. Ryan O'Hearn for sure. And his market's already been set now with Josh Naylor getting to mid-level pitching prospects. We'll get to that later. But that's going to be a somewhat similar return for O'Hearn. O'Hearn's a better bat, but ideally you're DHing him a bit. He can do some first base. Maybe it's a fit for a team like the Red Sox. I don't want to get too deep into that right now. I want to stay on task, but that is another guy that will for sure be moved for a couple B prospects, perhaps.
Yeah, Brewers. Anyway, we can guess
Yeah.
anybody, but they have, to me, I think the Orioles have the most. We'll talk about the Diamondbacks a little later. They have a lot, and I think the Diamondbacks may have a little bit higher quality too to give out there.
Okay. And what are we thinking about the Mets? I think they'll go get at least one more bullpen piece. I don't think this is the last thing they'll do just for the bullpen alone. They have prospect capital. They're in win now mode. Steve Cohen's fifth season owning the team. He said 3 to 5 year plan. I want one of these titles. You
But
got to
what did
push
you
your
say?
chips in.
What did you say the Mets have? That's been working really well. Pitching factory. I don't know that they'll go get another guy. You have a closer. So if you're going high end, I'd be surprised. I'd be surprised if
Why?
they go high end. Will they get someone else? Maybe. But to me, they do better. David Stearns has done better working in the fringes. Famously, the Brewers have the DFA bullpen that just is lights out every year. So to me, I think they maybe will find value there and maybe try to be able to find a bigger bat. Maybe it'll pry a center fielder away from somebody because that's a big need. Also, don't forget, third base is a need too. I get it. Vientos was a postseason hero, but if you can upgrade there, that's huge, huge for the Mets.
I think Senga's going to have a nice rest of the regular season into the playoffs as long as he stays on the field. I really like Mania. I like the staff. The starting staff, I think, can start a playoff series and thrive. For me, I am still going after a high leverage, big bullpen arm. And I would be willing to give up a top level prospect to try and get someone that's under control for multiple years. Or if they want to go more of the short term route, like a Ryan Helsley, there are a lot of good relievers that are out there, Kratz, that some will definitely be dealt because they're free agents after this year, and some will have to command something big like a Yohan Duran, Griffin Jacks, Emmanuel Clase. I don't think Cade Smith's going to be moved, but I'm sure the Guardians will have conversations about a guy like him as well, right? You've got that tier where it's multiple years of control and it's guys that can close out a World Series for you or be an eighth inning guy to an Edwin Diaz in the ninth. And then you've got more of your rental type. Don't you think a Ryan Helsley in the eighth inning would fit quite nicely for the Mets? They've got their two shutdown left-handed relievers now. They've got a couple other guys they like in the bullpen. And then you pair someone like Helsley with Edwin Diaz. Now we're talking, and that's a guy that is going to be a free agent after this year. You don't think they'll do something else like that or go for a player like that? You could look at the Pirates with Bednar and with Dennis Santana. I don't give a crap what your prior role was. If you're joining the Mets, you're going to be in the eighth inning. I know you sometimes, we debated this a lot. Every guy's different. There might be a few of them that say, hey, I'm ninth inning, and then the Mets are not the right team for you. But I feel like most of them understand the deal. Do you think Helsley would have a problem because he's about to hit free agency and he still wants to be a closer the next couple months? I don't think it makes a difference anymore in terms of what you get paid. If he shuts down the eighth and he's a G in the playoffs for the Mets, he'll probably get more money.
No, but I don't think the player cares at all. That's not what I'm getting at. I think the teams that are going to be bidding, the teams that need a true closer, are going to be the ones at the front of bidding up for Ryan Helsley. If the Mets call and they have a similar package for the Cardinals, which the Mets, Cardinals, Nolan Arenado, maybe he'll go to New York. Who knows? They need a third baseman. Anyway, if that package is out there for Helsley, teams that need closers, like the Phillies need a closer. The Cardinals can go to them and be like, all right, well, this is the package. Like, we need a little more from you. I think that's why I don't think they would get a closer type, because other teams will bid that up. I don't think the Mets are going to overbid for that type of pitcher.
Okay, but then my idea of someone like Dennis Santana would
Love it.
really fit the
I love
mold
it.
there, right?
Yes.
Really sneaky good season. He's shut down some games. He can easily slot in for your high leverage seventh, eighth inning type swing and miss. And the thing with the bullpen is that you can try to build it as best as possible in the offseason, but it's near impossible because it's so volatile. The Dodgers are a good example of that. They spent a lot of money on their bullpen And some of the guys we're looking at and going, how is no one going after this player? Tanner Scott was different. He cost a ton of money. Now he's hurt. Kirby Yates was more of the example where we're like, how is no one going after him? I think some GMs like to work on their bullpen at the trade deadline. That's the one spot I feel like I don't want to say leave open, but understand that they might move prospects for because you want to catch the right arm at the right time. Do you agree?
Yeah, healthy. I mean, you start locking in a Tanner Scott for a long time, and you're like, you even like a Kirby Yates. Now you get like some type of injury early in the season. Teams can see where guys are at, their usage by the trade deadline, and it's the true rental. As much as relievers don't want to hear this, they are true rentals, and they're paid like rentals, and they're driven like a rental. Like that's the biggest thing. And so teams, I think you're right. I think you hit it right on the head that they're finding that value at the trade deadline and not necessarily in the offseason, which I don't agree, but that's the route they're going.
So, in summary, Orioles just getting going with their sale of guys that are going to be free agents after this year or maybe after next year, right? Selling away short-term pieces. And for the Mets, this was a very primary need. They wanted to have two shutdown lefties in their bullpen. Now they've accomplished that. Check. And they can work on other things for the next week.